In today's video, we're going to talk about fear and how to better manage it. Stay tuned, I think you'll find this useful. Hello there everyone and welcome back to The Lovely Grind. My name is Michael Preby and my website's lovelygrind.com. That's where you can find information about my coaching, courses, and support and success monthly membership area. That's where you can also find all of my blog posts. So I hope you'll visit lovelygrind.com, and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel and to today's video, which is going to talk about fear and how to better manage fear so that the rest of the healing process then becomes more manageable. Now, just to recap my story for a brief second, I was on Paxil and Xanax. I was put on those medications heading into my senior year of college, and I stayed on them for too long, frankly, into my mid-30s when I made the decision to get off of them for many reasons. And although that decision made my life better in the long run, there was a withdrawal process after quitting the medications and while tapering that I didn't per se expect. And a part of that process, of that withdrawal and healing process, was increased fear. And I often say that that's really the one thing that every withdrawal has in common as far as symptoms go, right? Some people have a lot of physical symptoms, some a lot of mental, some a lot of emotional, some a little bit of all of those, right? But what does everyone really have at the heart of it in withdrawal? Increased levels of fear. Fear about symptoms, fear about health, fear about thoughts, fear about the past, fear about how to get through the present, fear about what the future might bring, fear about feeling fear. There's just increased levels of fear, and the fear can end up becoming a tyrant, a harsh taskmaster, something that follows us around and can really wreak havoc on our day-to-day existence, our productivity, our relationships, and even our progress and how we move forward. Everything can seem very unmanageable with high levels of fear. So today we're going to talk about how to bring that fear down a little bit. Because if we can do that, even by percentage points, important percentage points, then the rest of the process in healing becomes a bit more manageable. The tapering, the self-care, and the general process of continuing to move yourself forward in a good direction. So, what are some ways that we can manage fear? First, we can manage fear by finding reassurance that healing is real, that it's not just a fairy tale, that it's happened for others, and that by extension then it can happen for you too. Right? So we look for stories of inspiration, stories of healing, stories of reassurance. That's part of why I put these videos out, to keep letting anyone who's watching who might be going through a very frightful withdrawal process know that healing happens. It happened for me, even though I went through something that was very scary and lasted a while, right? And there's other people out there who share their stories too. Take reassurance and encouragement from those stories. There's nothing that's so out of the ordinary about my story or other people's. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you. Take reassurance from that. You're a human being, just like me, just like these other people have healed. If it can happen for us, it can happen for you too. Focus on that truth to help bring down and manage fear. Second, avoid the opposite of encouraging and reassuring content. Give yourself a good mental diet and avoid something that is mental junk food, anything that might trigger fear or increased anxiety in you. Right? And this could include content from people whose minds might be in a very negative or even faithless place because they're going through something traumatic and frightening, and then in the midst of that experience, filming themselves or writing about it and putting all of this additional fear out into the ether, and that's then being absorbed perhaps by viewers or readers who are in a vulnerable and sensitive spot, and again, are already experiencing increased fear and don't need something that's going to trigger that additional anxiety. So avoid those things. It might not be easy. because this sort of content might be interspersed with reassuring and uplifting content. And sometimes you might feel you're doing yourself a service by informing or educating yourself by watching so-called horror stories. But in fact, that's just triggering additional fear and anxiety in you that can then lead to an increase in the intensity of symptoms and might make that fear level greater for you in any given day and then make things feel less manageable in your own situation. So avoid anything that's going to trigger additional anxiety in you and give yourself an uplifting and nutritious mental diet. A third way to help manage fear so that the rest of the healing process becomes more manageable is going to be to bring yourself and your mind and your heart back to simple, encouraging truths each day. Simple sentences, simple phrases that help to calm your mind and calm your system. Phrases like healing is for everyone. Phrases like each day is moving me forward. Phrases like these symptoms can't harm me. And no, they can't. Symptoms are uncomfortable, right? They can be frightening, they can be confusing, but they're not going to be the end of you. They can't in the long run harm you. You are safe. These reminders are important. This is a coping skill. This is in fact one of the things I focus on in my Healing Mindset course. So I hope you'll go to lovelygrind.com and check out the Healing Mindset course, see if maybe it's right for you. Again, it's video-based and self-paced. It also comes with printouts and worksheets, and it's going to teach you the things that I think are most important to be focusing on as far as mindset and attention and coping skills in this healing process. Bring yourself back each and every day to simple, reassuring truths, and that's going to help bring down fear levels. A fourth way to manage fear and bring down fear levels in order to make the process more manageable is going to be to remind yourself that your efforts matter. The things you do matter in a big way, in a beneficial way. They count towards your healing. This keeps you motivated. This allows you to feel some important sense of control in a process that can seem so out of control at times. Your diet, the way you exercise, the interactions you have and the support you lean on, the mindset you cultivate, the goals you set for yourself. These things matter. Day in and day out, little and big, these things matter. So remind yourself of that. You do have some control. And the things that you can control in this process count for a whole lot more than the ones you can't. Remind yourself of this, and this helps to bring down fear levels. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, focus on faith to help manage fear. You've probably heard the term faith over fear. There's also a great quote that says, "Fear knocked at the door, faith answered, no one was there." Faith really does have the capacity to crowd out fear, to push it out of the picture, little by little, to bring hope and peace into a situation that would otherwise be overwhelmed by dark thoughts, emotions, and fear. So focus on faith. Focus on the reassuring truth that God is with you in this process. A couple of verses that I like are going to be Psalm 23:4, which says, "When I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me." This reminds you that no matter what you're facing in your day, you're not facing it alone. Even if those around you don't seem to understand, even if traditional avenues of support don't seem to be providing answers or guidance, you do have someone who's holding your hand through this process and protecting you. Focus on that relationship with God and on His provision and protection. That's going to bring down fear levels. Another verse that I like is this. Exodus 14:13-14. "Don't be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Lord Himself will fight for you." There's going to be times in this process when we feel like nothing we're doing is working. Times that seem so confusing, when we feel like we don't have any energy left to fight for ourselves. Well, this verse reminds us that in those times, God's fighting the battle for us, even when we don't have the wherewithal or the energy to fight it for ourselves. Again, we're not alone in this process. You are not alone in this process. Use your faith to help crowd out the fear. And that's going to help make the rest of the process of healing more manageable. I hope you've enjoyed this video. My name is Michael Preby. Again, I hope you'll check out my website, lovelygrind.com. Check out information about the healing mindset and my other course, Motivation for Healing. Also, my coaching sessions and my Support and Success monthly membership area are available there. You can find my blog posts there, and I hope you continue to check out these videos. I'll keep making them. Until next time, please remember to take care of yourself and your dreams.